Welcome, everyone. It is a glorious Thursday. Yes, it is. It is a glorious, glorious, glorious Thursday. When I chose this topic last week, I was like, I don't know why I chose it. It just popped into my head. Well, we all know nothing just pops in, right? Just has to do with the mood. But I'm here and I was like, people seem to think that the law is just something you turn off and on and you know, you use the principles, you go higher, you go deeper into your journey. You will see all of these stages, but it comes from that constant practice. So why teeth and the law, you ask? Well, because you get up and you brush your teeth, eh? You take care of them. It's called oral hygiene, isn't it? You see, we bathe, we brush our teeth, and we don't do it periodically. So long as you are in a position to, you do it every day. You eat every day. You take care of yourself every day. Thus, you have to practice the principles every day. Because practicing the principles every day will help us on so many different levels. How so? Well, I was asked a very beautiful question this morning. How do you maintain your joy? When you practice the principles, your joy is not dependent upon external circumstances. Your joy is dependent upon what do you know to be true. Oh, I want to go back and read that thing, but I don't know if I can do it. Um, I don't know if I can flip it over, but let's see if I remember it. I read it enough last night. We use our skill to obtain a goal. Okay? Because we have two ways. We use our skill to obtain a goal, or we use the goal to sharpen the skill. That's my summarization of it, or my, you know what I'm saying. That's what it is. My paraphrase. So we have a goal in mind, and our goal is whatever that thing is. And so we use the principles, we use the power of God to bring about the goal, right? That's what we do. That's one way of doing it. That's man's way of doing it. But God's way of doing it is using the goal to sharpen or to hone your power of God. That's what you're doing. So which one are you? Like I said, we use both of them at any given time. So how does one maintain their joy? First, we recognize that joy is not something that makes one go tee hee. I'm in a good mood. Tee hee hee. No, that's just laughter, man. Because something's funny. Joy is the knowing that I can change my circumstance. Even though my circumstances seem daunting at the moment, even though my circumstances appear impossible to achieve or to accomplish, the principles tell me, well, I am God, and nothing is impossible with God. Can you see what you want to accomplish? That's what the principles tell you. When you see and you know what you can accomplish, in spite of your surroundings. Because listen, I everybody's circumstances are different. What may be critical to me may be a piece of cake to you. Okay? And what may be lackadaisical to me and easygoing, but still a problem, you're like, whatever. And what may be your whole life, to you, it may be that. To me, I'm just like, okay. So you see why we don't judge or compare ourselves to the other person? Because our perceptions are different. So you use the principles to look at where you are in your life. Neville Goddard uses the scenario. He said, if you were imprisoned, nobody would have to tell you what you want because you would already know what you want. You would want your freedom. Freedom. My name is Shatta Wale. It's a song, but it's a great song. I dance to it all the time. So when you know what it is that you want based upon right where you are right now in this moment, he says if it is freedom that you require, you see yourself as free. There was a man who was imprisoned. I forget where he was, but in his mind's eye, he heard about his freedom on the radio. In his mind's eye, he heard about his freedom on the radio. Okay? And wouldn't you know it, he stayed faithful to that. And he got free. And exactly how he heard it on the radio in his mind is how people spoke about him after he was freed. That's in one of Neville's books. I forget which one it is. But you maintain your joy by knowing. And here's the thing. How do you get to know something? Well, first you learn it, and then you apply what you learn. And you don't compare yourself to someone else, because that's one of the fastest ways to sadden the self. Because you're looking at your situation and you go, well, damn, I can't get out of this. There's nothing I can do. Everybody's having a much better time than me. When you remove your eyes from the goal, what is the goal? To sharpen your skill, sharpen the power of God within you to bring about your goal. That's your focus. And it is a pleasurable experience. This is part of what helps you with knowing where your joy comes from. It is a pleasurable experience. Why? Because you're getting to test. Look, I did a podcast with someone the other day, and I was just watching it back a little bit. I'm going to give you the example again of the athletes. This is all going to come together. Just hold on. You see the athlete when he's sitting there in the chair in the clinic, and they've got the little cap with the probes on his head, and the coach is telling him, okay, you can see the finish line, right? I want you to run the race. He doesn't get up to run the race, does he? He sits in his chair and he runs the race. Where is he running the race? In his mind's eye. But the computer picks up the physical activity because the muscles begin to fire as if he were running. So the computer is measuring all of the output that he is doing. You could walk by and see him with a cap on and you don't know what he's doing, but he's running. So you see, when you sit and you contemplate your freedom, you sit and you contemplate your wealth, you sit and you contemplate your health, you sit and you contemplate your reconciliations, your relationships, you sit and you contemplate them. You don't have a computer hooked up to you, but you have the knowledge that tells you this has been done. And it is registered that they're just sitting there and they ring a little cap and the computer registers everything that they're doing mentally in their brain. Their brain, as within, so without, their brain is measuring what they're doing. So you don't have a computer attached to your cap right now. You don't. Oh, but maybe you have an Apple Watch. Did you know the Apple Watch does something? Now, I don't wear an Apple Watch. I don't want. I'm not about that life. I just can't handle it. But sometimes even your phone, if you use your health app, you can tap your wrist and it'll tell you what's going on inside your body. What? So if you know that that is possible because they're doing it, well, then you sit there or you lay there and you contemplate what it is you're accomplishing. Because the science, I don't want to say trust the science, because we know where that led us last time, but observe it. It is showing you what they're thinking of and running that race. So if you know that is happening invisibly, well, then persist in running your race in your mind's eye. But Angela, I don't see anything changing. Persist in running the race in your mind's eye. But Angela, nothing is happening. Am I doing something? Persist in running the race in your mind's eye. Why persist? Because when you persist in running the race in your mind's eye, we're going to say it again. We're going to say it again. To maintain your joy on a daily basis, you go back to what the scientists have shown you with the athlete with the cap on. And he says to him, run the race in your mind. And the computer goes, and it picks up all the information, right? You're walking by that room, and all you see is a dude with a cap on, and his eyes are closed, and the computer has got these little thingies on the screen, and the scientist with his little notepad and pen, and he's writing things down. That's all you can see. But something registers. As within, so without. As within, so without. If you keep contemplating the thing that you are thinking about and feeling, you are going to experience it. That's nothing new. That's nothing woo-woo. It is what it is. It is principle. It is law. So you see now, when you know that, you have the same confidence. Neville said it. He goes, the same confidence you use to garden is the same confidence you need to practice the principles. Why? You see, you're not going to go out right now and plant something. Of course, actually, yes, you would. Your garlic. Now is the right time to plant your garlic. The bulb, get it deep in the ground and cover it over with the leaves and leave it alone. And come spring, what happens? The garlic shoots poke through the soil. And you start seeing this green stalk, and you're like, what? My garlic is growing. Yeah, that's when you plant garlic. Because you know it takes that long. You see, you've planted the garlic and you forget about it. When I moved into this house, well, I discovered that they planted garlic when in the spring. Because I saw it growing. I was like, dude, that's garlic. But garlic takes so long. But you see, the confidence that the gardener has to plant it in October and know that they will reap it in the fall. You're like, but wow. You see where your joy comes from now? It comes from the knowing. It comes from knowing that you know the principles and you apply them in the way that is you. The principles don't change. Cause and effect, you're never going to change. But you use it according to what effect you want to bring about. This is how you maintain your joy, which comes from the fact that you're practicing every day. Just like you bathe and you brush your teeth every day and you practice your personal hygiene every day. Because ain't nobody want flies, but I digress. So you see, pay attention to what you're doing when you're having a hard time. Who am I to tell you what a hard time is? I'm not the one living your life. I'm not the one walking in your shoes. But if you say, I'm having a hard time, if you say you're having a hard time, well, then what would a good time be? Good times? Sorry. What would a good time be? Look at that. But you see, we try and do something unnaturally. We don't pretend we're having a good time. That is not what you do. You don't pretend you have a good time. You see the good time in your mind's eye and you compare it to the garlic. Plant the bulb, the seed. Plant it. Well, how do you know it's planted? When you plant something, when you get an idea and it moves you, you're like, oh, and you get all fired up, and then you act out, now you know you've planted the seed. So plant the seed over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Some people are fortunate enough, if you want to call it luck, they get pregnant the first shot out the gate. Shoot, girl, you could have chosen a better word than that, but I'm sorry. Some people just get pregnant the first try, right? But what if you didn't get pregnant the first try, but you want to get pregnant? Well, don't you keep planting seeds till pregnancy happens? You persist in the activity that brings about pregnancy. So persist in the activity, the mental activity that brings about your freedom, your wealth, your health. And what is that activity? Seeing it in your mind's eye. Listen, we might think we don't see things in our mind's eye. Some of us are visually inclined. Some of us are auditorily inclined. Some of us are tactily inclined, meaning we touch, we taste, we see, we hear, right? Senses. You have one that's real strong. Okay. Neville uses the example of the man who used his frustration to change his life because he found that he got frustrated easily. So he said, well, fine, I'm going to use my frustration. So here he is in his mind's eye, standing in a long line at the bank. And he says, oh, why do I have to get stuck in a long line at the bank just to deposit this big check? Like, God, can't they make this easier? I hate standing in line, but I got to deposit this big check. So that's how he used his mind's eye to get him where he wanted to be, which was what? Lots of money, right? You use your skill, whatever it is. He used his irritation because he found that he was easily irritated. So that's what he used. Now, if you're comical, right? Or if you hear people talking about you all the time, I've told you this before. You persistently hear them talking about you and your success. Because sometimes people are a little funny, right? People are a little funny. So if you start feeling, I know for me, I told you this before as well, I tend to lean towards the angry side because certain things will frustrate me. And I'm like, why? Why do you have to do that? Or who do you think you are? Like, that's me. So when I'm having that inner conversation with myself to prove that I have accomplished something, well, who's the first person that would have something to say? And depending on who I choose, well, then I already know what they're going to say because I know their personality. So I persist in that because it's what we do naturally. We're always talking to ourselves. And so some people, when you walk by them, you can hear them. They're always, and they're always having an internal argument. They're not saying a word, but their body language tells you they're angry. Where's that conversation? Inside their head. So they are persistently doing a particular thing. So are you persistently bemoaning your problem? If you are persistently bemoaning the problem, you are causing it to continue. Um, that might not be what you want to hear. It's not what I want to say, but it is law. Look through your life and you'll see it. You don't, you don't even need to tell you. Look through your life and you will see it. How did I end up at death's door? Because I was stubborn. That's why. That's why. Persistently stubborn. Yep. That's what I did. So if you look through your life, you'll see it. This is how you maintain your joy. You maintain your joy by knowing. Well, what do you know? Because I was talking to someone and they were like, yeah, I don't use the believe portion. I don't believe anymore. And I'm like, that's because the word belief has been tainted. But you can't not believe. Why not? Because you believe what you know. You believe what you know. I mean, you say, look, man, this always happens to me, so whatever, I just get used to it. This always happens to me. Well, what are you affirming? But it always happens to me. That's what you're affirming. To be true that you believe in. So that's how we live our lives. That is how we live our lives, day in and day out. We consistently and persistently affirm what we think is true because we've seen the evidence of it time and time and time again. Time after time. Sorry. We've seen the evidence, right? Over and over and over again. So when you know this portion, you don't have to fake joy. You don't have to fake happiness because you know. And here's the thing, if you don't know, you will. Because every man will know. That is the grace of God. Every man will know it. So don't fret this morning because you broke. Don't fret this morning because your back is hurt, your knees are hurting, you got palpitations, you're losing your hair. Don't fret. What do you know? Hmm? What do you know? What do you know? Go with that. You know what? Man, if I keep having this conversation in my head all the time, I'm gonna have to experience it. I keep planting corn, I'm only gonna get corn. And that seems foolish to say. That feels kind of corny to say. I'm looking at a pumpkin right now. The owner of the company brought them in out of his garden, right? He gave them to everybody. I can tell you what he planted based upon what he gave me. He planted pumpkins. So what are you planting on a daily basis? You see, this is the part. If you sit there and you bemoan and you browbeat yourself and you just are so hard on yourself, that's what you're planting. So what do you want to plant now? Yeah, but Angela, if I start telling myself, you're so special. You have so much to offer the world. You're great. I don't believe any of that, Angela. It sounds stupid to my ears and it's just lies. Exactly. Exactly. Because that is not the way. The way is, look, man, I know if I plant peas, I'm gonna get peas. What peas am I planting? Okay, my peas are the mood that I'm in right now. What mood am I in? I don't like the mood I'm in. Okay, well, let me change my mood. Well, how am I gonna change my mood? I could sing, I could dance, I could paint, I could draw, I could do poetry. I just want to feel better. And the moment you have all, listen, you don't even have to open your mouth to say, I want to feel better. All you have to do is feel in your heart, I want to feel better. Well, when you walk by someone, right? I'm talking from experience. When you walk by someone and you know that they're cranky and you're like, and you don't even say anything out loud, but you just walk by them and you cringe and you're like, Where did that come from? The depths of your being. It is exactly the same thing. King David talked about it a lot. He said, from the depths of my soul, I cry. So what's coming out of the depths of your soul? The thing that you practice all the time. So to maintain your joy on a daily basis, to maintain the joy on a daily basis, you want to remember always that you've been given the principles to use. It is up to you to use them. Nobody can force you. But Angela, you still didn't tell me how I'm supposed to say to myself better things. It's not better things that you want to say to yourself. Don't you get that? It's not better things that you want to say to yourself. The things you say to yourself are based upon the mood that you occupy. So if you're sitting on your bed and you're like, it's okay, cry. Get it out. Because you're doing something. That is communion between you and God when you cry. And God is gracious to soothe. You could imagine, if you will, you're sucking on your thumb and curled up in God's lap, and he's rubbing your head saying, it's okay, baby. It's okay. Just let it all out. Let it all out. Let it all out. And when all the snot is dried on your face, God says, everything is all right. Now, tell me, what is it that you want to accomplish? Don't you know the power I've given you? Do you want to practice using it? And you answer and you say, well, yes, I want to practice, but I'm scared, God. I'm scared to practice. And God says, it's okay. Practice anyway. And you say, okay, what do I do? And God says, well, I don't like words all that much. I don't like to talk. Show me a picture. Show me. Show me what you want. And you get real quiet. Well, how are you going to show? How am I going to show you, God? And God says, well, how does the picture make you feel when you see it? How do you want to feel? And that'll help you bring the picture along. And you say, but God, I don't know how to visualize. God's like, I'm not asking you to visualize. I'm asking you to tell me how you want to feel. And when you tell me how you want to feel, I'll see the picture. But don't use words. Because you don't have enough words in your vocabulary. There aren't enough words. You limit yourself with words. Show me what you want to feel. Show me. Oh, yes. And then God says, I got it. I know exactly what you want. Then what do you say? You say, okay, all right, then run with it. And God runs with it. And then you will be presented with the opportunity. You will be presented with the opportunity to walk in the image that you showed God. Good morning, handsome. How you doing? So you see, that is what we do on a daily basis. We're doing it all the time because it is the only way. It seems weird to hear that it is the only way, but it is the only way. To do what? You know, scripture says, draw close to me and I will draw close to you. That's what it says. Well, how do you draw close to God? Breathe. Where do you think he is? He's right there in your bosom. So you don't have to draw close to him. What do you mean? Draw your attention. Draw your attention close to God. You know, sometimes with my Roo, if I sit and he's on my lap and he falls asleep and he gets quiet. I know, right? He gets quiet, really? But he does. And he sits there and he falls asleep in my lap because he trusts me. That is the same thing that you and I have been given by God. You just are going to have to trust in yourself. But Angela, what if I fail? How will you know what failure or success is if you don't do something? But it's not doing something outside. It's doing something inside. You get into your mind's eye because you and I do it naturally already. This is what I'm trying to convey to you. We do it already. We do it naturally because it is the only way. It's the only way. Just like pregnancy and labor, only way, right? Even if you use a surrogate, she's still pregnant, still has to give birth. It's the only way. You plant, you reap, only way. So get a little quiet time. And you don't have to say anything. You could be like, what's her name? Sarah in the temple. I think it was Sarah. She was in the temple. And all the priest could see was her mouth moving. And he says, get out of here. You're drunk, woman. She was drunk? No. She was murmuring to God. She said, God, if you give me a son, I will dedicate him to you. And he will serve you all the days of his life. That's what she kept. Every day she kept at it. So it's not that she kept at asking for a son. It's the fact that she kept at asking. She was persistent. So it's not that she was wanting pregnancy. Look at what the moral is of the story is telling you. She wanted something. She knew what she wanted, and she persisted in it. She saw the end. She said, if you give me a son, he shall serve you all the days of his life. And I'm thinking to myself, now how she know? He might not even want anything to do with God. But nope. You see what it's telling you there? Go to the end. Know what you want and persist in it. And she knew. She knew what she wanted and she persisted in wanting it and she got it. So if you persistently show, if you persistently show yourself what it is that you say you are, you don't have a choice but to become it because it is law. But you've got to be persistent with it. You can't plant the seed and dig it up. Plant the seed and dig it up. Plant the seed and dig it up. Yeah, you can't just plant it and dig it up. What? Because now what are you doing? Persistently planting and digging up. But persistently plant and maintain what you've planted by drawing your attention to it. See, so that's why we apply the principles daily like we do our personal hygiene. It's just what we do. It is just what we do. So I trust today that wherever you are in your situation, I mean, this is tomorrow's message. You come too far. You come too far to give up now, right? So don't get frustrated with the situation. I know you want to. It's natural to want to get frustrated with the situation. But remember, remember the principles. Remember the scripture that says, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. What? Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I'm going to say it again for good measure. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. What does it mean? It means that God gave you himself. The physical form is great, yes. But what animates and keeps and sustains the human form is greater than the form itself. Because the form cannot exist without what is within. So greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. That is what it means. So today, whatever it is, if your back is against the wall, it doesn't matter. You know what matters? That you can turn and say, I am. Assume a virtue if you have it not. Why? Because assumptions, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. You don't have to get out of bed, but if you see in your mind's eye that you're not in bed, you will get out of bed. So you don't have to force yourself. See yourself. Constantly see yourself where you want to be, and you will pull yourself there. Because man becomes what he contemplates. But then now you understand. I know you do. And it's okay. We practice and we practice and we practice and we practice. Why? Because we perfect what we practice. Oh, but nothing is perfect, Angela. Oh, yes, it is. All things are perfect. Because God has no flaw. That is why it is perfect. Not perfect in the eyes of man, but perfect in the eyes of God. So you keep practicing moving yourself to the mood that you want to be in mentally over and over and over again, and you will see your situations change. Man, I'm telling you from experience. May 31st, no, May 30th, I had nowhere to go and my lease was up. And I'm sitting in my living room and I'm crying. What am I gonna do? I can't live in the car with my boy. That was me. May 30th, okay? Yeah, I had the whole month I was looking. And I was getting frustrated. And I felt helpless and hopeless. But then in the back of my mind, I heard, what do you want? And I was like, what do you mean, what do I want? I want a house to live in. Well, then turn on the iPad and you'll see it. No word of a lie. I turn on the iPad and the first thing that pops up, I said, well, shit, that's what it is. And I saw the pictures and I was like, I picked up the phone and I called. And the man said to me, I just posted this 5 minutes ago. He goes, tell you what, I'm busy. But can you come and see it tomorrow? I'm not going to show it to anybody else. I'm going to show it to you. And if you don't like it, I will return calls. I'm the only one who saw it. And that was the same. And here we are. And I got it. Packed up that U-Haul on the 31st. Took me a couple days. But here we are. I am telling you. You've got to trust in yourself. Cry all you want. Sure. That's natural. That's normal. But get up. And the answer presents itself to you. So don't be scared. Isn't that what the angels always said? Fear thou not. For I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will help you. I will strengthen you. I will uphold you with the righteousness of my right hand. That is scripture. So when you want to remember and you see where you are in life, and the doctor is telling you, well, it's not what you want to hear, but unfortunately, he's telling you that, be like Hezekiah. Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and he said, ah, save me, God. And God gave him 15 more years. See, we think that that is man begging God, but it is not. If he turned his face to the wall, well, then where was his back? To his problem. So what's the story telling you? Turn your back on your problem and put your attention on the solution. That's what it's telling you. I feel like I'm hollering, Lord have mercy, let me stop, let me stop. Whoo, because it's a frosty morning and I gotta scrape that car off. So you see, your personal hygiene, you don't wait till you gotta go somewhere to bathe. Get up and you bathe. Because you're gonna go somewhere. Right? So that's what I'm telling you on this glorious, glorious day. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. Turn your face towards the solution and see the solution. Because when you see the solution, listen, what would it feel like to you? What would it be like to you to have the closest person come up to you and say, holy cow, what the hell did you do? How'd you get all of this? I've never seen you ride a bike. I've never seen you look so good in your life. How did you get healthy? And you can say, well, let me tell you how I did it. Or you know you got that one person because money changes people, yeah? Oh, you got all that money, now you think you're better than anybody else. Is that what they would say to you? What would it be like if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be? Turn your face to that. Cry over that. And you'll notice a difference in the tears. One will be of joy. Yeah. Anyway, look at Twitter. Tumbleweed Day. It is Tumbleweed Thursday on Twitter. It's all good. I keep calling it tumbleweed. Damn it. And it keeps me in tumbleweed. Mm. Who's on YouTube this morning? What is the well, Melly Mel has made herself known here in the chat. Nobody else has made themselves known, but I see you. Ow. Fan base, who's kicking it with us today? Oh, well, hello, beautiful KZ. Come on in, girl. Happy is in the house. Miss Fawn is in the house. Miss McQueen. Flo Smiles. Big Mike is in the house. So, anyhow, I trust that today made a little bit of sense to you and that I trust. Oh, look, it's symmetric. You know, what I just say? I got to start seeing it fill up, and here she pops in. It is good to see you, Symmetric Love. It's good to see you. But you're going to have to catch the replay, but you're just in time to chime in with us, right? So I just want you to know, each and every one of you, that I love you and I know the principles. That's why your situation doesn't faze me, because the principles, that's where your power is. So practice using the principles every day. Now, you can practice as man, which is to bring about your goal, or you can practice as God to sharpen your power by using a goal. So the goal is your whetstone. You know, there's a hole in the bucket, there, Liza, right? That stone, you get it wet and you sharpen your blade on it. That's how you can be God. Use the goal to sharpen your skill of creativity. As opposed to, well, I'm just going to use my principles and I'm going to get that car and I'm going to get that house. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all, because those are the two ways. You're still using the principles, right? But use the goal to sharpen your creativity. That's what we do. So, on this glorious Thursday. Let me get the chime. As always, it is hanging on the door. Oh, wrong door. Scared myself. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you all for being here on this glorious Thursday. Thank you. Melly Mel, what platform am I on today? I'm using Restream today, and I'm streaming through to YouTube, Facebook, and then I'm using my phone for Fanbase and Twitter. That's what I'm doing, because now you need a premium subscription to be on Twitter to live stream. I'm like, I'm okay. Thank you, Elon. But I digress. Yeah, that's where I'm at today. And tonight, if you want to join us for the bedtime lecture, ooh, last night's bedtime lecture was lit. Have mercy. I felt like I hollered the whole way through that lecture. But it was fire, that lecture last night. Woo. So I don't know what this one is called tonight, but I know it's there. And I'm looking forward to it. I wanted to say chime and chicken, bull and bird song, but chime and chicken, and he's quiet. Shoot, way to make me look bad a little bit. I digress. Anyhow, let us go forth today and know what is within you. Know what is within you. Practice using what is within. And I look forward to seeing you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to fall asleep with us. Ow. Good night. No, it's not nighttime. It's good morning. Because it's so dark outside right now. Just so bad. Like it feels like you're leaving at night. And then you come home in the dark as well. You're like, oh, welcome to winter. Anywho, I love y'all, man. I really do. I'll see you tonight. Peace. Yeah, peace, everybody.